Hi, my name is Roberta Perry, president of Roberta Perry and Associates. I'm also the co-founder of Invitation to Tomorrow Today Showcase. Our mission is to present market-ready products, services, and solutions for today's challenges. Now, sit back and enjoy this month's showcase.
My co-host is a very elegant, very refined, and very intelligent person, which you can't tell right now, but her name is Roberta Perry, and she's the president of Roberta Perry and Associates, which is a business development catalyst. If you can't tell by all the introduction, Roberta knows everybody, and if she knows you well, she will coerce you to be on this every single solitary month. Just kidding. But she is the person you want to know if you're trying to build your business, or if you want to be introduced to anyone in the universe, including Captain Kirk, her favorite person on the planet. So without further ado, Roberta, this is the worst introduction I have ever done, and I apologize profusely. But everybody admires you already, so what's the point? Take it away, Roberta.
Thank you, Norma Lynn. Woo! My goodness, I think that's actually the best introduction I've ever heard. So thank you. And it is my pleasure to be the co-host with Norma Lynn Cutler, who many of you know is the owner of Cutler Enterprises, an innovative branding agency. And if you can't tell that already, you're in for a lot of surprises when you hire Norma Lynn. She's just awesome. Plus, Heidi Hirsch, who's with Reveal Architectural Studios, another one of the co-founders, and someone we could not do this without, our advisor, Susie Oglahara with Panasonic Hollywood Labs. So it's great to have an amazing ITTT team. Now, as Norma Lynn mentioned, we are recording today's showcase. So if you do not want to be recorded, please turn off your camera now. Our Zoom format, for those of you who have joined us before and those of you who are new, includes a 15-minute presentation by GEENEE today, followed by 10 to 12 minutes of questions and answers. Feel free to send your questions in chat so that everyone can see the questions, or you can send them to me just as a direct message. We are very, very excited about our showcase today. In January, I was introduced to our showcase company by a business owner in Hollywood. He was excited about a new company in Hollywood, GEENEE, a web-based augmented reality software as a service platform, or as our invitation said, augmented reality reimagined for the pros and for the rest of us. Now on to the program. GEENEE's CEO is Corey Greener. Prior to forming GEENEE, Corey was the Chief Revenue Officer for Loop Now Technologies, a short video technology company. Earlier, Corey was the first director of sales and marketing for, wait for it, Snapchat. Woo! Also, Corey was one of the first graduates of Stanford's Innovation and Entrepreneurship program. Joining him today from GEENEE is Elena De Sosa, the Director of Partnerships at GEENEE. She was an early member of the Google Glass team. Plus, she spent several years on innovation teams at major media agencies, brokering partnerships on behalf of brands like Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, Disney, and Hilton. For those of you who are a member of the Themed Entertainment Association, GEENEE is also a member of the TEA, and we're so happy to have them as members. Now, you can find out more about both of them, plus more about GEENEE, by visiting their website, GEENEE.ar. Now, Corey, Elena, take it away.
Thank you, Roberta, for that kind introduction. And I first wanted to begin by explaining some of the differences of what virtual reality is, augmented reality, what are we really talking about? And so you may be familiar with some kind of headsets like this, where you are actually out of the physical world and in a virtual environment. What we're going to talk about is how we can use augmented reality, which is overlaying a digital information, making the world clickable, shoppable onto an actual physical environment. And so you're still engaged, you're still immersive, and you're interacting in oftentimes a gamified way. And so you see that in some of these images here. One can be virtual stickers, it could be makeup, it can be tutorials, and it is impacting and redefining all industries. It includes advertising. I know that we have some people here like Jessica, who's from OMD, whose agency is actively engaged in using these type of technologies. And where we see the form factors, such as smart glasses that are coming, and some of those you heard, like Google Glass or Snapchat glasses, and what seems to be almost on the cusp of Apple glasses or even Facebook glasses, are going to become more ubiquitous with these type of experiences. And it's also starting to redefine how we engage with art. The image that you see there is actually from an artist named Connor Campbell, who created this digital artwork, which sold for about 3 Ethereum, which is around $12,000. And we have used augmented reality to showcase it in a new way. And I wanted to describe how big this market is. It is now entering into a pace of acceleration where it is forecast to grow to be $73 billion US dollars in the next few years. I was on a Clubhouse podcast where someone from Nike said, if you don't have an augmented reality strategy, your company, your brand probably won't exist in the next 4 to 5 years. And so we see this shift from computing to mobile to social media. And now we are in the era of spatial computing, where augmented reality is accelerating at 60% compounded annual growth. And it is starting to kind of converge on a couple other things that are changing our culture. One is the crypto space, which is valued at $1.2 trillion, and also gaming, which is valued at $2 billion. So taken as a whole, augmented reality plus gaming plus crypto is a $1.5 trillion industry, and that can really impact your job, your business, whether it is in what I heard many of the people here today are in themed entertainment, whether it's in things like experiential centers or museums, definitely in the design space and in education. And next I'm going to hand it over to Elena to share some of the use cases that we are currently serving and what can be served by this technology.
Sorry, I was muted. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Corey. So as Corey described, augmented reality has come a really long way in the last few years. The market is really growing, and one huge piece of pushing forward the mainstream adoption of AR is making content creation as simple and as accessible as possible. Another piece is lowering the barrier to entry for users to experience AR. And so at GENEE, we're really aiming to do both. We're offering a no-code, low-design platform for AR content creation and management, which enables users to build and share their own augmented reality creations within minutes. This makes it possible to easily tweak experiences for A/B testing purposes, to quickly change language so that you can have these experiences live across different markets, and to make AR that's differently served to users based on the time of day or the occasion. So for the first time, AR has become very scalable. We've cut down on development time, and we've made it as easy as clicking on a URL or scanning a QR code to enter into an AR experience. And it's possible to extend physical world experiences through AR. You can add AR to static marketing collateral, such as out of home or print, and you can create purchasing opportunities within an augmented experience, or you can call up augmented content in any context that it would be helpful. So GENEE is a cloud-based drag and drop platform, and I'm going to play this video here so you can take a look at what our platform looks like. It's really simple. to create an experience. We have templates that are pre-built, and you can drag and drop any asset into the platform. You can choose the colors for your brand, design that user interface that the end user will see, which is shown on the left-hand side. And then once you're done, you can save it, you can publish it, you can add different AR assets. You can have these experiences launch from different places. And since it's cloud-based, it makes it really easy to collaborate across teams. So we have a built-in shared asset library, and you can make quick edits to the experiences. We have built-in integration with Sketchfab, which is a 3D asset library that has millions of 3D assets available, as well as Spotify to add audio. And just really making it possible to build all sorts of visual and audio-based experiences that feel truly immersive and like you're bringing that digital content into your world. And so another development in AR, aside from all of the rapidly developing technology that's making it possible to finally bring augmented reality mainstream, is that we're finally starting to get some numbers that support the idea that AR is a really effective marketing tool, and that users are engaged at all-time highs when it comes to augmented reality experiences. So we've found across our different branded augmented reality experiences that many of our users are spending as long as 2 minutes and 47 seconds with the branded content that has been created in augmented reality. And for context, that's over 2 times the benchmark for standard digital content, which is coming in somewhere at around 1 minute and 22 seconds. So it really is something where maybe people are seeing and experiencing AR for the first time. It's compelling. It feels like it's in your world. It's very tangible. And it lets you really get a sense of the product or the experience or the game that you're playing and feel really hands-on. The advantage with GENIE is that because it is web-based, it's available across 3.5 billion smartphone devices. When you're looking at augmented reality solutions like ARKit or AR Core, which are built for iPhone and Android operating systems respectively, that audience size is drastically reduced. And it's not just us who've seen great success for on behalf of our clients for implementing augmented reality, but it's all of these other brands. Shopify, Home Depot, Champs Sports have all seen increased conversion rates and an increase in revenue through their implementation of AR. And this is some of the work that we've created on behalf of brands using our GENIE technology. So you can see it ranges everything from launching an AR leprechaun off of a can for Miller Lite. We've done some flavor visualization for Red Bull, where you can switch between the different Red Bull flavors and see a glass of cool, refreshing Red Bull poured right in front of you. For It Too, we took over all of the out-of-home in the UK, and we triggered augmented reality experiences where you could bring Pennywise the Clown into your world and take a surprise selfie, then buy tickets for the film. Similar for Disney, also able to trigger that from out-of-home in the DVD cover, and you could enter into a portal and experience different pieces of content that related to the film. We were also really excited to bring the cover of the latest Hunger Games book to life. So these speak to the different variety of experiences that you can build with GENIE, and that can range from games and other types of interactive content to portals where you place an AR environment into your world and then you can actually walk inside and explore, to even scaling out influencers such as characters or celebrities and bringing a photorealistic version of their avatar into the world to give the user some kind of message. And with that, I will pass it back to Corey to describe some more examples.
Thanks, Elena. So the applications for augmented reality, and particularly what we do, which is web-based augmented reality, which means you can enter an experience without having to download an application. You don't need to be on a TikTok or a Snapchat or a Facebook. It's just as simple as clicking a link or scanning a QR code and then be able to immerse yourself in another world. And so what this is showing is a center in New York, and showing that you could view a building and actually change what that physical structure looks like. And in this case, you'll see on the left side is almost seems like waves over the building. You can peer into experiences that happen inside the building without going inside. You can see things that have happened past and present. And that's really an opportunity for discovery, for that could be tourists or even locals to know what are the amazing amenities and products that could be offered at different locations. And so we've been serving, this is, as I mentioned, in New York, but from Riyadh to Beijing, many different type of immersive experiences. This is another one which is augmenting a physical location, but with artwork. And on the next scene you'll see is if you're on top of a building, you can really gamify what you see out there. And this is, of course, the view from top of the rock of the Rockefeller Center, seeing the Empire State Building. And while it would be very costly to have a physical King Kong animatronic try to climb that building, you can actually experience that directly from a phone that's in your pocket, and soon probably head-worn glasses. Another application that we see, which is really exciting, is wayfinding. There's a lot of amazing kind of visions of the future where you're kind of like a Pac-Man that can be like Pac-Man going down a road and find a location. And so there's simpler ways to do that, to get directions in a more immersive way. Part of it is augmented, part of it is also going to be voice. And the next visual that you'll see is again, past and present, being able to see locations on how they used to look, the nostalgia of a space. And we see that that's going to become more and more a part of the human experience. Just recently, we heard that Peloton is announcing that they're getting into games. And I think that's when the Peloton experience can be at a head-worn device, and you're walking through the neighborhood or running, or jogging, you're going to be able to see the historical significance of areas. And that's kind of what we were showing here. Also the artwork being more immersive. Artwork is no longer going to be something that you just passively consume on your wall. It's going to be something that you interact with, something that you can remix and modify and experience. And of course, back to being clickable and shoppable in ways that have never been possible before. And then the last, just to summarize, is really the teams that you work with. Just like everybody on this call knows, whether it's an advertising agency, a production of an event, as an example, or a immersive experience, it really matters about what the team is like. And so at GEENEE, we've had to hire people who come from various universities, various geographies, and various industries. And that includes gaming, it includes the crypto space, and includes computing, but also just people that are really creative technologists. And so if you're working with a company like GEENEE, we'll bring PhDs in computer science, but also alongside creative artists that want to make the world more immersive, more interactive, more informational, but also impact the bottom line, drive a business result, regardless of what industry you may be in, particularly around, as you saw many of the examples, consumer packaged goods as well. And we do think that simplicity is the key to brilliance. We've worked really hard to make a no-code drag and drop platform so that any business can create augmented reality without needing programming skills, and bring everything at your fingertips, as Elena described, having models that you can search within the tool itself without having to create your own models, having music libraries accessible, and being able to experiment and really find the product customer fit at a way that saves you time, it saves you money, and just compress the time frame from ideation to creation. And that's what we do here at GEENEE. Thank you.
All right. All right, Corey. Woo! Wow. Amazing. It's an amazing software as a service platform for WebAR. It's an amazing team that you've gathered together. Now we should go to our question. I know we have a question in the chat. Let me just bring that. Nope. Let me bring up my questions first that the team and I put together, and we'll take it from there. Before we go to the questions that I prepared, Elena, I understand that you have a one sheet that you're going to be able to get to us to send to all of our people on this showcase. And I believe on that one sheet are going to be some of the QR codes so that we can go up and play. And some of the links. Is that true?
Exactly. Yes. So the one sheet has 4 different kinds of experiences. They're really prototypes. So think of them as examples and thought starters about what you might be able to build on behalf of your clients, or perhaps something that you're working on individually. And all you need to do when you receive it is pull it up, scan a QR code, and it will bring up that individual experience, and you can check it out and explore it further.
I know yesterday when I was playing with one of the QR codes that you gave us to play with, I got so immersed, I completely forgot about the presentation that I was working with. So thank you.
Yeah, we had to take them out of the presentation so that you guys wouldn't get distracted.
That's true. Because trust me, you would be doing a deep dive and spending those 2 minutes and 47 seconds in those games. So great. All right. So either Corey or Elena, what is your process for onboarding a client?
So we would first get a sense from the client about what it is that they're trying to create, whether or not it's self-serve or whether or not it's something that requires some custom development work from our side, maybe because it's a little more experimental than something that we've built before and it hasn't yet been built into our drag and drop platform. So once we kind of assess their needs, we can scope out either a customized build of the platform that will serve the client, and they can totally take it from there, make all of the AR experiences that they want to their heart's content within minutes. Or if it's something that requires custom development work, maybe that's helping them with the creation of the 3D assets themselves. Maybe that's plugging in some interactivity that hasn't been done yet, so we haven't had a chance to template it. We would let them know what that would cost, and of course the timeline in order to deliver it. And from there, we have developers from our side that are very well seasoned when it comes to taking on client work. They can turn around really polished projects really quickly. And we'll work hand in hand with the client across the different layers of approval that need to be moved forward in order to make sure everybody's getting what they want, and that when we deliver the final experience, everybody's happy. And then we'll also offer, of course, ongoing support from our developers, both for the platform and for the custom builds, just to make sure that everything is working properly, that we don't go offline, that there are no issues from a technical perspective. And we're always looking to solve any problems that come up very quickly, to troubleshoot, just to make our clients happy. So that's more or less the process. It can definitely vary based on what you're trying to do, but that's it.
That's it. All right. Well, that's excellent. Thank you. I'm going to chat right now. Let's start with Norma Lynn. Actually, this, I believe came from you and from Rob. Right. The technology is awesome. In the future, will there be the opportunity for big dollars, of course, for category exclusivity, e.g., if Red Bull wanted to be the only energy drink who has access to the platform, will that be possible?
So possibly access to our platform, but I think just as Mark Zuckerberg has said in the past week, that that $1 trillion company, Facebook, is going to be a metaverse company. And they're going to be investing very heavily in any company that is a tool company or an avatar company, immersive company. So I think that you would, even Jeff Bezos would not have enough capital to corner the market on an immersive augmented technology, because it's it's not the Internet of Things, it's the Internet of everything. And what is the change? I know it's hard to kind of conceptualize, but that the physical space that we know as humans is actually an artificial constraint. And a physical space as we know it is an artificial constraint, because we now have the technologies to have all of the minds interconnected to create and to interact and then transact. And so that's a huge shift. And I don't know that any company could corner the market on that.
All right. Well, thanks for that answer, Corey. And thank you for bringing up Meta Universe. We have somebody on the call today that is smiling broadly about that. Let's go on to another question. What do you foresee in collaboration with online gaming?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely the future. Right now, we're working with a partner, as an example, called Zed Run, which does, it is a game, but it's a horse race, and they have 12 players at once racing. But the difference is that there's 1,000 horse races happening a day, and no physical horse race in the world could have 1,000 races in a day. And so that's just one example. There's games like Fortnite that are massive multiplayer games as well.
Right.
And even GENEE has developed immersive worlds that can have massive players. And so taking that to an augmented experience where multiplayers can be in augmented reality at the same time is where we're headed. And I don't think there's going to be any constraint. And part of that is going to be the 5G technology that doesn't just enable faster speeds, it enables higher volumes of content. It's the volume. So it's the volume and the speed, and those two together can enable massive multiplayer web AR experiences.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Corey. Tracy, I know you put a question in there. I think Corey answered that question, but if you have a follow-up to that, please put that in chat. That would be great. Why don't we talk about for a moment your pricing structure? Because all of this is phenomenal, but I always have the idea, maybe because it's the brands you're working with, that's too expensive for me, or it's too expensive for the typical design company. Why don't you go ahead and answer your pricing structure, as well as talk about, as a follow-up question, your software as a service pricing structure?
Yeah, I could take that. So the typical way that somebody produces an augmented reality experience has been very expensive. We've spoken to countless customers who typically are in the entertainment space. And so imagine an entertainment studio has this really amazing IP and content, and they build their own app on the Apple Store. And that needs to be approved. If there's any goods that are sold to it, Apple will take 30% as an example. But now they need another app. They need an Android app as well. So now they have two apps that they need to maintain too. They need to update them. Software is sort of like, can be like a house. Your house, you need to change your roof. You need to do some maintenance. Software, there actually needs to be maintenance too. And so there's different version updates that go along with it. Security updates as an example. And so the lifetime of that app, which was just something simple, let's say it was Walking Dead experience, that needed to be produced by an agency, that could cost about $250,000. Then all the updates and the engineers that it took to do that. And then people don't just know about it. So there needed to be a lot of marketing dollars behind promoting that application. And then the worst part that could happen is that it's used once, it's a leaky bucket and people don't come back. So we see a better way, a simpler way, where we have an online tool that a company like an entertainment studio or a consumer packaged good brand and across different verticals can log in, create an experience, ship it. They don't need to go through that other agency. They don't need to list it on an app store. They don't need to worry about iOS or Android. And they just do it as a service. It is a true software as a service that starts with an agency type price or a studio type price, which may be serving other customers at $3,000 a month. And it's month to month. So if that campaign is over, you can just stop. You don't need to keep paying. Now, $3,000 a month might seem a little steep upfront, but again, this is being compared to a lifetime value of $250,000 if you were to make your own app, which is very expensive. So that's what we're going up against. And for major brands, if let's imagine you're like a Coca-Cola, we charge $10,000 a month, again, month to month. And if it's upfront, it's $8,500. It's a 15% discount. And that's how we've been supporting clients at the big consumer packaged good level or at the studio level.
All right, well, thank you. Let's go on to another chat question. The possibilities are mind-blowing, especially from my stand in art and design. Have you collaborated with artists, or have you had artists create installations based on your technology? I attended the Google conference last year, and there are quite a few interesting AR demonstrations.
Yeah, so really excited about this question because this is definitely an area that is really key to our plans in the next few months. We're about to launch a feature on our platform where you can create an AR experience and then mint it as an NFT and then list it for sale on a marketplace.
Okay.
And of course, everybody's seen just all of the energy around the NFT space lately and just how much excitement there is around digital ownership of art and how it's really kind of been like this life-changing thing for artists where it's allowed them to make a lot of money off of their digital creations, which until now haven't necessarily been valued as they should be. So in our process of leading up to launching that feature, we're working with a bunch of different digital artists and we're looking to feature them as we roll that out, and they're going to be creating some unique pieces on our technology that they're then going to be listing for auction on Mintable, which is our partner who has an NFT exchange. And so we're just really excited to see that grow and to let artists create in AR. And I guess one other thing I would say that lends itself really well to artists being able to feature their work in augmented reality is that we have made it possible to add file formats, not just 3D file formats like GLB, but you can also add GIFs, you can also add images, PNGs, MOV, MP4 files into our platform just through dragging and dropping, and then you can see your art in AR. And so it's really not limited to 3D artists, but it's something that I think there's a lot of room to experiment with and just to be creative. So that's my 2 cents on it, and just something we're so excited about. So if Corey has more to add, I'll let him go for it too.
Oh, that's exciting. Let's go to the next chat question. Do you have any examples of how developers have used AR to show future development plans on site to the community? Did they have QR codes? How did it work with communities? Community being diverse groups of people with diverse technology abilities, is there a way to add comments, feedback? I know that's a long question, but Corey or Elena, I know you've got it.
Well, I think that there are examples where the cities in Florida have hired agencies like a GEENEE and partners of ours to showcase what the city can look like, almost like a future city, and do it from a real architectural perspective and commerce perspective, showing the traffic flows of the city, and it's all in an augmented environment. So they didn't physically build these models, not even 3D printed. It is all augmented, and people can come in and experience that city before it looks that way. So I think definitely these technologies are being used for both planning and discovery of the amenities. And in addition, there are some programs that we're working with. Elena, do you want to share about the project in Chicago that may be applicable?
Yeah, this is actually a really special one. So I guess I'll start with this insight, which when we first started talking to that team, I was not aware of, and I haven't spent much time in Chicago, so that could be why. But apparently Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in the entire country. And so there's a group of artists and technologists that have they've envisioned this program that they're working to bring to life that GEENEE will be powering. And it's an art walk between two underserved neighborhoods in Chicago. And
Cool.
it will feature the work of local artists. They're going to make these giant sneaker installations that have painted artwork on top of them. And then we're going to be adding an augmented layer so that you will be able to scan a QR code, learn more about that piece, the history behind it. Maybe there will be something 3D that's really special and immersive that's launched from it. And it guides you on a walk between those two. We're going to probably start with two, maybe two to four, and then extend that throughout the city as it gains more traction. And they also have been speaking about how it can become a template for other cities to do something similar. So we were thrilled to meet that group and excited to make that happen in AR. And if there's any interest from anyone on this call to be involved, I know they're looking for corporate sponsors as well. So if you're interested, feel free to send me a note and we can connect the dots there.
Excellent. Wow, that's exciting. I can't wait to see that, because we have somebody that's on this call today who's from Chicago. So I know he's excited about that as well. All right.
Cool.
Next question from our chat. In the application of your process to online auctions, might we expect the object of interest to rise from one's phone and rotate for view and study, perhaps even detail blow-ups? Elena or Corey?
Well, we've got some amazing effects where you can point your phone, as an example, on your wrist and see a watch that doesn't exist. And we just saw a luxury brand selling a digital version of the watch for over $100,000. And so there's, and digital horses, the horse that we were discussing, one is sold for 800,000 US dollars. So yes, absolutely. The way that we have architected the first engine or publishing platform ever for augmented reality to a non-fungible token artwork minting process, that full process. We have received a provisional patent for that, and then followed up by building it. So that you can actually have a code and you can see a GIF animation of what it's going to look like. And there's also a link. And so that entire good can be sold, but then it can also be scanned and then experienced right in your living room, on your tabletop, or maybe even on your wrist.
Woo, I love it. Thank you. Can't wait till I can afford that type of watch.
Yeah.
All right. I know you've probably already touched on the answer on this, but let's just to review it. How do you collaborate with merchants, restaurants, and media companies? Well,
Elena collaborates with them as our director of strategic partnerships with many of those industries. But Elena, if you want to share.
Yeah, I would say that it's going to be different for each of those categories. I think with restaurant, the obvious one that we've all seen over the past year is QR codes on menus. And maybe there's ways that you can take that to the next level. And that's something that can be done really simply, whether it's just taking that menu item in 3D and just making it possible to visualize. So it just becomes easier for the diner to decide what they want to eat. With media companies, I think it can be a little bit different because you're talking about sometimes global campaigns that live across many different markets. And maybe you want to change certain pieces of the campaign depending on what the AR experience is launching from, what kind of marketing collateral that is. So I think it really kind of comes down, each of these pieces would come down to scoping out exactly what you're looking to do. And we're definitely here to help guide through that process because AR is a new technology that not everybody is familiar with. So we're always happy to have a conversation about how augmented reality could be a good fit for your brand and how you might want to implement it in a way that's cost effective and will lead to a good return on your investment. So, you know, you're not just paying for the AR and it's pretty, but it will also hopefully lead to increased revenue for you with purchasing opportunities inside of the experience itself. So again, going back to restaurants, if you're looking through the menu and you pick something that you want to eat and you can just simply tap to order, it just simplifies things. So we'd love to talk more about how you're looking to implement and see what we can come up with that would be helpful.
I remember seeing that very same thing in the bar at the Star Trek, first J.J. Abrams Star Trek, because it had the bar menu and it was all AR. You open it up and it just jumped off the menu. So I love it. Can't wait to be able to see that as far as food or drink. All right, as we get ready to turn it back to Norma Lynn, there was one more question. What do you think the next frontier or iteration of immersion is or will be? So we're really talking about the future here, and will you be developing it?
Well, I think that the tomorrow is today. That the technologies of how we work and how we consume physical goods, digital goods, have all been compressed by probably a magnitude of 10 years over the past year. And we see that with all the gaming media that's gone up, with all the spatial audio consumption, new platforms like Clubhouse. So I think that we're going to continue to see the convergence of what is broadly being described as the metaverse to really make the world more clickable, more shoppable, but also more informational. And particularly around education is going to become a lot more collaborative and probably distributed and using these technologies. So I think it's going to be a really big shift for all industries, as I described earlier. But for the brands that are keen to adapt because change is inevitable, and embrace these new technologies and really experiment, learn how the consumers use that data, as I heard some of the people here have backgrounds in, and then develop the right kind of user experience to meet their needs.
Wow, Corey, a follow-up to that, because I'm excited about the future, but we're also realists, and we know that there will be pushback. So one of the questions is that one client type that one of our audience members has worked with is the municipal tourist destination areas. And one of their concerns is that this type of AR experience will take away from the actual physical experience. They're concerned that people won't visit their locations if they can virtually experience it and thereby lose the tourist revenue. So how do you counter that? And what do you see that pushback as you move into the future that you were just talking to us about?
Yeah, I think that so much of travel, as an example, is about the experience in storytelling. And one of the amazing things about augmented reality is about story living. And so I think there's a transition from storytelling to story living. And I don't think that you can have one without the other. You still need physical environments. We still want clean air and water to consume as human beings. But also yesterday, I was in a wingsuit with wearing this as an example. I was literally in a wingsuit, and I could experience what it was like to be in that. And I'm probably not going to be in a wingsuit anytime soon. And so with the new form factors of augmenting those type of experiences with the devices we already have in our pocket, traveling and seeing what are the most pertinent places of interest and the history of different locations, and doing it in a contactless way, particularly today, where you don't need to touch paper and so forth, is going to be the better way to serve the traveler, but not a replacement. Yeah,
very, very well said. I think it's going to be both. I love it, and I love where it's going. Corey, Elena, thank you both so very, very much for being with us today on the showcase. I got so much out of it, and I thought I knew a lot. But today you really opened my eyes to where we're going with it, what we could do with it, and how we can use it. And so again, thank you on behalf of all of our audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roberta.
No, you're welcome. Now let's turn this back to Norma Lynn Cutler to take us away and talk about what's coming up next month.
As if I only knew. Actually, we are entertaining a couple of really fascinating technologies to showcase next month. Again, it will be the last Wednesday of the month, but I don't want to spoil it, because if I tell you it's A and it turns out to be B, then you won't be pleased with me. And I want everybody to love me as much as everybody loves Roberta. But just so that you know, all of the contact information for Corey and Elena has been put into the chat. If you want to follow up with them, their emails are there for you to ask questions, to send money. They're accepting dollars, not donations, but dollars, etc.
And Dogecoin.
And Bitcoin, yes, or whatever, yeah, crypto, and NFTs, whatever. Everything is currency at this point. At least it's got the word. But I want to thank you all for joining us, and we'd love for you guys to make us a monthly visit, because we continue to bring more and more exciting things, although it's going to be hard to top today's presentation. So on behalf of all of the wonderful people at ITTT, all four of us, and our presenters today, I want to thank you and hope you have a great rest of the week. And hopefully we'll see you next month. So bye now.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on this month's showcase. We look forward to having you back with us next month.